Do y'all want to see something pretty bizarre? This is a problem that Xbox and PlayStation is facing. Regardless of the amount of console sales that both platforms talk about, boast about, or tout, their game sales are actually strange. Now, I don't know how to measure it in terms of just giving it a qualification like saying it's abysmal or it's bad or it's not good because, again, every game is going to perform differently if you get what I mean. However, there's something very weird going on here, especially when you look at Nintendo, who has similar console sales numbers with PlayStation. And I think this is very important for all three of them to be able to, have us, in a sense, understand what these platforms actually do. So let's look at a few examples. That's all we can do. We can look at what the numbers tell us, and then we can maybe draw some conclusions. Zelda Breath of the Wild, right now, according to the last data set that we have by 2024, sometime around 2024, has sold 33.55 million copies. Another game, Horizon Zero Dawn that came out around the same, I think they came out in like a week apart, right? These two games. This was on PlayStation 4, which at the time had, a bunch of units already in terms of the PS4 console. The PS4 version and the game in total has sales of about 24 million units. This was as of last year. They've made a remaster to the game. The game got ported to PC in 2020, and it's everywhere. So the game has had the opportunity to sell. But here's the crazy thing. When we start looking at other PlayStation games going forward, it seemed like after Horizon, which is their biggest and highest sold game, by the way, the other games start to go through what I think is a very interesting, change. We look at another game, especially in this new generation, like God of War Ragnarok. God of War Ragnarok has sold 15 million units. Around the time that this particular sales data was being put out there, PlayStation had sold about 30 plus million consoles, I think, for the PS5 generation, and this game was also available on the PS4. So if you actually look at the numbers very carefully, you'll notice that this game had access to as many users as the Nintendo Switch, but it sold only 15 million units. If we get a calculator out, and we got to do this, right? If we get a calculator and we try to take a look at what this trend may be telling us, it seems to me that somewhere, somehow, these games on PlayStation are getting pummeled. Now, if this is the case with PlayStation, oh my gosh, Xbox, sorry to say, but they're getting decimated too if they don't have another pipeline. And that's an if caveat, which is why Xbox has day one pipeline on PC. You can already see it. So let's say at the time God of War Ragnarok came out, that was 2022, sorry. PlayStation was already 2 years into the PS5 generation, and the PS4 generation had access to about 112 million consoles. So we can say something around the fact of about 150 million consoles that were available to basically sell this game. And the game sold only 15 million units as of 2023. Maybe now it's at 20%. So that percentage to me is very, very weird because PlayStation players are not behaving like Nintendo players. And the exclusivity talk that people say exclusivity does this and exclusivity does that, it's only dependent on if the players actually want to play those games. So actually, players and gamers are at the crux and at the center of it all. Now here's what's going on. Nintendo does not have to deal with this. All of you that are cheering for the Switch 2, that the Switch 2 is going to be some, powerful console and this is going to boost Nintendo, you don't understand what you're saying. If Nintendo gets into an environment like this, there's a likelihood that their own personal game sales will face this kind of competition. Many of you are still saying things like, no, Nintendo games just sell. But Nintendo games sell because of the environment that they're in. They're not dealing with freaking Fortnite and Call of Duty. Is there Fortnite on Nintendo? I don't know. Is it? Oh, it is. Crikey. It came out in 2017. Goodness gracious. It is here. Oh, maybe I might be wrong. Maybe Nintendo games do have this thing about them that they still sell. Hold on though. But how many live service games are on Nintendo Switch? There isn't much info about the number of live service games on Nintendo. This is the AI overview. It doesn't seem like there are many. So I think there's still some room to say, okay, even though you have Fortnite, we don't have GTA 5 and Roblox and 2K25 and EA and all of that pressure. There's Minecraft on Nintendo Switch. But then you don't have like all these other games that are still coming in and putting pressure because this list is big. You don't have Overwatch on the Switch, which is really massive. And majority of, I think, Fortnite players, are on PlayStation. I think that's the number. Majority of Call of Duty players are on PlayStation. So Nintendo Switch is not facing this kind of pressure. So yes, I'm on track. I thought I was crazy. Because I've heard you guys say majority of Fortnite players are PlayStation players. Let's see. Majority of Fortnite players are on PlayStation. 42% of respondents use PlayStation 4 as their main gaming device to play Fortnite, while 35.2% played on Xbox One. So these two are basically 77%. So the other 30% are probably PC and other platforms. Okay, so it's safe to say that Nintendo games are not facing that pressure just yet. But when they bring a more powerful platform to the market, if they do, is this market pressure going to block their games from being able to sell as much? Not saying it's going to decimate their games, but is it going to create a market pressure? And are we going to see Nintendo in a whole different light? Or are they even going to basically slow their online services so that it's not going to be the most innovative or the most, how do I put it? It's not going to be the fastest. It's not going to be the most desired across the industry. So people might still go ahead and say, hey, I'm not playing my live service games on Nintendo. So this is a very big challenge for PlayStation, for Xbox, to go ahead and wrap their minds around. And this is Matt Piscatella's Blue Sky. This is the week of November 30th, tracking Call of Duty still number 1, Fortnite still number 2. Call of Duty has reached number 2 on PC. That's crazy. Stalker Heart of Chernobyl. Man, look at Stalker's number 4. When it comes to PlayStation, I don't know how it's going to look, but PlayStation fans might play it. So the market saturation is something that you have to consider when you're looking at console sales. Because when we even take a very close look at PlayStation console sales data, here's also another one. The sell in and sell through, and I'm sure this is the same with Xbox as well. This is what these two console manufacturers are facing, and Nintendo is yet to face. So I'm sure Nintendo has looked at this, and is probably going to limit the number of these live service games that are on their platform so that their sales can continue to stay profitable. But even when you still think about it, Nintendo games look like they're cheap to make. So they still have some opportunity to still be able to make live service money and still be able to capitalize on, say, maybe even reduced sales, right? But still stay profitable because they sell $33 million of Zelda. Bro, there are university let me not say that. There are game developers that can make a game like Zelda, okay? And do it even cheaper than Nintendo would. Brilliant people out there, okay? I'm just being silly in this case, but come on, think about it. Like, it's not a $300 million Spider-Man game. So if they didn't sell 10 million copies and they still maintain profitability, but they gained $1 billion from, more Fortnite players and more Call of Duty players and, more Overwatch players and such, man, that would probably be the bag going. So Nintendo has a perspective in that regard of being at an advantage, having come into the market slower than everybody else to support live service games. Sometimes being conservative in your business approach is actually very good. So Nintendo is at the opposite end of Xbox in the spectrum. Xbox is usually ahead, future. But they are a volatile commodity company, basically doing software. The game can change on you. Some developer can, in their garage, go ahead and write something that makes all your software obsolete. So you got to kind of be pushing ahead more and more. PlayStation, on the other hand, they want to be a hardware company. But as they've adapted all of these ahead things that Xbox was throwing out there, they're in a very weird spot, I think. So this is going to be very interesting overall to see how Nintendo comes into this market. But looking at the way software sales are selling on these platforms and how they're very low, it's gonna be weird. I mean, I'm curious to see how Indiana Jones does on these lists. I don't know. I think it's gonna be very strange to see how the numbers will be. But you never know. It might crack it or it might not crack it. Talk to me in the comment section. What do you think so far about how the data is leaning? Thanks for watching. Peace out.